start with the inevitable, the kiss.
Oh, yes.
We've heard all about the kiss from somebody. Let's get your version.
You know what? I don't know what he said. All I remember is that he was really nervous, and I was really nervous because I've never kissed a 13-year-old boy before. But in the context of the film, it is very sweet and very adorable. But I just remember both of us kind of avoiding the subject. We didn't want to talk about it. We did all the film, and we did everything we had to do that day, and then we kind of just were like, okay, here it comes. But it was really sweet, and I think it really comes across in the movie as, that was just, he has a crush on Alice, and, throughout the movie he goes through so much. The boys go through so much, and you just are rooting for them to have something good come into their life. So it's a bright spot in the film.
And how many takes?
That I don't remember, but I know it was a couple. It was a couple takes. Because we had to get the right amount of like what it had to be. So it couldn't really be a full on like smushed face kiss, and it couldn't really just be, just a peck and leave. It had to be perfect. So it was a couple of takes. But I will say, I think Skyland is my favorite leading man so far.
What did you like about this script when you first read it? What stuck out for you?
I really loved the grittiness of the film. I loved that the writer wasn't scared to put certain things in the film and wasn't scared to have these characters experience these certain things. And especially them being, kids, some adults couldn't handle some of the stuff that they had to go through. So it was different to read it like that. And I was on a plane when I was reading it, and I could not even hold the tears back. I was bawling on my Southwest flight, and the flight attendants were looking at me like I was crazy, and I was like, just forget about me over here. But I really loved it, and it was just a beautiful story. Like, it really grabbed at my heartstrings, and I really loved just everything that happened. And, they're fighting, and they're going through all this stuff, and you really want it to be, like movies that you see where it's like, okay, you have the characters, they go through something tragic, everything is okay in the end. The movie's not like that. It's different. It's very much real life, because not everybody has a happy ending, and not everybody gets the resolve or the resolution of characters coming back together and forgiving each other, or, actually making it through things. So I thought that was really great, because it's definitely real life, and kids go through that.
Now, he says there's a scene that was cut out of the movie where he's in the library and he heard that you died.
Yes.
Now, what happened to that? Because in the movie, when you said you were going to quit the guy, when he said it, I was, so what did he do? Come back and...
Right. Well, in the film, there were... it's all about how you edit the film, and I love how they edit it, but some of the scenes that I shot, the scene in the beginning where you see me with the man who comes out of the building, that's the guy that is paying for all my stuff, and I'm his side piece, I guess. And he, he's married and he has kids, and he comes out, and he's very controlling. He's a control freak. The scene where my phone buzzes, where I'm giving him the bag, it's the guy, texting me like I'm on my way. So apparently I'm not allowed to have friends at the apartment and different things like that. So there was this whole controlling aspect of that character. And when I say I'm going to tell him no and I'm leaving, what happened in the original script was that I leave. I'm like, I'll be back, I promise. And then, they're like, is she coming back? Is she coming back? So he goes to find me and ask for help, and he comes and he asks for Alice, and the library, wherever he went, he asks, and then the lady hands him a newspaper and says, young girl shot by abusive boyfriend. So you wouldn't really see me die anyway if it was still in the edit. But he goes through so much in the film to have me die was just one more. It was too heavy. It was way too heavy. So I'm absolutely good with that. And actually, last night was the first time that I saw it, and I couldn't be any more pleased. It's amazing.
Well, what kind of scripts have you been getting sent to you? What kind of scripts have you been getting sent to you?
I've actually been really lucky, as a singer, trying to break into the acting side and hone that side of my artistry. Sometimes you can get pigeonholed. All you get is musical roles or something that has to do with either, being in the church or trying to make it in Hollywood or something like that. But I've been really lucky. I've gotten anywhere from, romantic comedies to sci-fi craziness to the films that I just finished, which one is an indie film where I am a preacher's daughter, but I don't sing. And then the other one is called Left Behind with Nicolas Cage, which is about the rapture. So I've gotten a whole bunch of different opportunities, and that's been really fun to see the differences. And I'm actually working on CSI this week. So I'm super excited.
What do you get to do on CSI?
I play a teacher who is a suspect and also a victim.
What did you like about that kind of? Because doing a TV show is very different from doing a movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only one episode.
Right.
I wish it was a series regular.
Yeah.
If any of you know anybody, put in a good word for me. But I actually, CSI has been one of my favorite shows since I can remember. So before Idol, I had the box set DVDs, and I would watch them all the time. And I've always been interested in shows like that have to do with like the psychology of people, why they do the things they do. So I love, Criminal Minds. I love Hoarders. I love Intervention. Like I love that stuff. So the opportunity came up to audition, and I was like, you just tell me when and where, and I will be there. So I'm really excited that they liked me, and I get to go and do it. So I play a teacher. I can't give away too much because then you would know the whole thing. But I think it should air sometime in November. So I think they're trying to do a quick turnaround on it.
How is the amount of time you devote to acting comparing now to the amount that you were devoting to music? Is acting sort of like at the front burner, or how is everything playing out for you?
Well, let me just be completely honest here. I have been pushing for music to happen, and honestly, God has just been opening doors for me in the acting side. Like, I'm like, but I really want to do music, and he's like, haha, here's CSI, and haha, here is everything else, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll go this way. That doesn't mean I'm not doing music. I have the album finished, although now it's going to be open, so if new songs come up, I'm going to record them if they're amazing, and if I think of something to write, that process never really ends. As a songwriter and a musician, you're always becoming inspired, so new things happen all the time. But as far as acting goes, it is a big time commitment when you're shooting, and then you have all this time off until you have to do the promos and the amazing roundtables and, the morning TV shows and all that stuff, and then that's also another time commitment. So it's the same as music, is that you have a product, or not a product, but you have your creation, and then you go through your edits and you tweak it and make it work, and then you do promo for it, and then you release it and hope that everybody likes it. So it's essentially the same thing, just the timing's a little bit different. But I'm hoping that if I have time, at the beginning of the year to get a single out, because I have it done and I have it ready. I'm just ready to launch it. So I just have to figure out the timing. Everything's all about timing.
In all your travels, have you run into Simon Cowell lately at all?
Simon, I see it, when he was on Idol, I saw him every year, like at the finale, and I would see him and say hello. I haven't been to the X Factor, so I haven't seen him there, but, no, I haven't run into him recently, no, I haven't.
I'm sure he would be, knowing Simon like we do, I'm sure he'd be very happy with your success, and I think that's great for you, so.
Thank you so much. It's almost kind of like, I would love to go, I told you so. I would love to say that, but at the same time, at the finale, I remember he did apologize, and he was like, I was wrong. You were great. And I was like, oh, thanks. But, I actually love Simon. Here's a story people don't know. When I was 14, I actually went to the 3rd season of American Idol. I watched Jennifer Hudson live on stage. I watched the whole thing. George Huff and Jasmine Trias and everybody. I was obsessed. And I had a sign. It was black with silver writing. It said, Simon is always right. And I held it up. I held that sign up loud and proud because I love that Simon has the guts to say what everybody's thinking. And he gets booed for it, but that's okay because it's a constructive thing. So when I was on the show, it was really crazy to be in front of him because then I was like, oh, so this is how it feels. Okay. But for being 17, I thought I handled him pretty well. I didn't have any crazy breakdowns, thank goodness. I probably could have, but I just always wanted to top myself on the show, and I loved everybody so much that I didn't want to think of being in competition with them because they were my friends. So I just wanted to, top myself each week.
Well, you now have you just told us a more personal connection to Jennifer and Idol.
Yeah.
So how was that experience getting to work, on a project with her?
It was really, Jennifer is just she is so talented, and it's amazing to see, you know, what she's done and the path she's taken. And I don't know where it is, but I do have a picture with her. I have a picture with her at 14 coming out, because backstage on Idol, sometimes there are a few audience members who can wait outside, like, the stage door, kind of like in Broadway, wait outside the stage door and get autographs on your ticket. And I stood right there. And I waited for everybody, and I still have the ticket. I'm a scrapbooker, so I, like, keep little things like that, and I put them in books. And but I still have the ticket. It has everybody's signature on it, and I have a picture with Randy, and I have a picture with George Huff, and I have a picture with Jennifer. And I'm just this bare-faced, humongous smile. I didn't know how to control my smile then, so it's just, like, completely taking up my whole face. I was so excited, but to be able to work with her was a lot of fun. I didn't actually have any scenes with her because Alice's character is more involved with the boys, and Jennifer's character is taken away by the time you get introduced to me, really. So I filmed all my stuff, and I left, and the next day she came in, and I didn't even get to see her. But we've done a couple of events together, and I've seen her, and she's always been so kind to me. I don't even know if she remembers meeting me. Like, when I was 14 years old, I should probably ask her next time. I should ask her. But yeah, she's very sweet, and I'm really happy for everything that's going on with her too.
That's a perfect example of where you don't know where life will take you sometimes, and I keep telling people that now. You don't know what will happen 6 months from now, even though it may be planned, but you go this way.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect example, because every year that we did Idol at TCA, it was always interesting. We had no idea what was going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the fun thing about my life. I'm very happy. I'm in a really good place in my life right now, and I'm just so in awe of everything that I get to do and the opportunities, and, you know, the fact that, like, you know, music is definitely my lifeline. If I woke up tomorrow and I couldn't sing, I don't know what I would do. To be able to do this other side of my artistry and kind of, it's totally different because I'm slightly out of my comfort zone now. I've done it a couple of times. It's a little bit easier, but I'm still like, am I making the right call? Am I doing this right? Is this what the director wants? It's been so fun to be able to experience that and learn something new and, like, really push myself. So I've had an amazing time with everything, but you're right. What is that saying? You make plans and God laughs. Because he's like, yeah, no, this is what's going to happen. But I think that's just been, it's been an amazing thing. That's definitely why I've become the person I am today. You know, just being able to grow and experience different things, because everything is so unexpected, and I just fly by the seat of my pants. I just go.
Since you shared some memories with us, can I ask for something I'm working on? When you were nominated for a Grammy,
yes.
What was that night like? Like, what are the memories that are vivid in your
On the night that I heard I was nominated?
No, the Grammy night itself.
At the Grammys. Goodness. I just remember having butterflies because I hadn't walked a carpet that huge. And I had my dress on, and it was specially made for me, and I had my hair done, and my grandma and grandpa were there, my mom and my brother and my dad, and I just remember walking down going, I'm a part of this. I'm a part of this now. Like, this is where I am. Like, this is where my life just took me. Like, what is happening? And Ryan was there. He interviewed me, and it was fun to see a familiar face, so that helped ease the butterflies a little bit. And then trying to walk that carpet and then have to smile for pictures after being so dizzy from everything. It was a really crazy experience. But I was sitting there on the floor, and they were announcing the nominees, and I'll never forget this. And this is why I love him so much now. I haven't seen him since then, but Adam Levine was sitting right behind me. And he was in the category with Rihanna for their collaboration that they did. And Adam was sitting behind me, and the lights dim, and they're putting the nominees on the screen, and he leaned up behind me and grabbed my shoulders. He was like, "You have this." And I will never forget that, ever. I don't care what he does. He will probably be the best person ever to me for the rest of my life. But I just remember sitting there going, he doesn't even know me. He doesn't even know me, and I'm just this kid coming in here, and I loved Maroon 5, so he was touching me, and I was like, oh God, because I guess I was 18 at the time, and I was just like, but I will never forget that. That was like, that's so vivid. Like, I can still just picture myself sitting there. Alison Krauss and Robert Plant won, which didn't make sense to me, because it was R&B pop collaboration, and they're just not R&B pop at all. but whatever. I digressed.
So, Jordin, why is it important that films like this get made, as far as films for the multicultural communities and for the subject matter?
I think it's important to bring us back down to earth and who we are and the bare essentials of what we as humans do. You know, when we need to survive, we're going to do whatever it takes to survive, whether we are 13 and 11 or we're 24 or 23 or we're however old we are. You know, we're going to do what it takes to survive. And I love seeing movies. I love going to the movies and going and seeing a romantic comedy where it's like, yeah, that would never happen, and you're just like, yeah, that's great. But it's great to have stories where you get caught up in the film and you get caught up in that could happen to anyone. That could happen to anyone at any time. That's happening now. There are kids everywhere, all over, that are, you know, staying with friends for a little while until their moms get back, and, you know, maybe their friends don't necessarily know. You know, there are kids that are by themselves all the time. Granted, there are some kids that have run off by choice, but there are a lot of kids out there and a lot of people out there that don't have a choice. And I feel like if there's anything that people can take away from this film, it's that no matter how dark things seem, there's always tomorrow. The sun is always going to rise again, and there's always going to be a silver lining. And just to persevere. And I think that to get those type of things ingrained in people as they're watching a movie is great. It might not be able to happen all the time because it is a heavy film. Like, I don't know if I couldn't handle watching those films all the time, but it is important to have them made so that every once in a while you sit down and you just come back to, like, yeah, that's life.
Do you have a favorite scene in the movie as far as it being the most compelling to you, or the performance?
Well, I do think the scene where he kisses me is it's definitely, like, nobody expects it. So I think, well, they'll probably expect it now since it's going to be all over. But anyway, because in the movie with everything they go through, you know, you don't expect it. And it's definitely a light spot in the movie. You know, you're laughing, you're just like, yay. And then it goes back to, like, oh, well, they have this reality to deal with. I don't know, Skylin and Ethan, everyone has to remember their names because I'm so honored I even got to be in a film with them, because in the next few years, those boys are going to blow up. They're going to be, oh my gosh, it's going to make me emotional because I'm, like, so attached to them. I'm so attached. I'm just so proud of them. But let me think. I mean, Jennifer, it's unlike, you've never seen her like that before. And like I said, I saw it last night and I was just like, whoa. It was very in your face, very real, very gritty. And also, you know, the dynamic between Mr. and Jennifer, it gets a little uncomfortable sometimes because it is her child, and at the same time he can't help but love his mom even though she's a screw up. Okay. And she can't help but love him even though she's annoyed that he keeps bothering her about getting a job. And that, you know, there are a lot of, again, coming down to what real life is, there are a lot of situations like that. And I think that that's very amazing. And little Ethan, too. He's just so cute. And he's really funny and cute without even trying to be. Yeah. And so you'll get a lot of laughs from him. So there are a lot of parts in the film that I think are really, oh gosh, it's just good all around. It's just amazing. I just really like it through and through. So yeah.
Thank you.